Pokémon is a franchise with an estimated revenue of over $150 billion and millions of fans all across the world. So, how does a franchise grow to become so ridiculously large? Well, it evolves. Evolution is a process of change that happens over many generations. Without evolution, we wouldn't survive. This applies to Pokémon as well, both in-game and in the real world. Pokémon Red and Blue were the first games to start off the Pokémon franchise. These games pioneered many mechanics seen in the monster taming genre and are the core inspiration behind many other popular games around today. After realizing they struck gold, the franchise almost immediately started to evolve and grow. Only 1 year later, a Pokémon manga, anime, and toys had been created, amassing even more fans of the franchise because of how easily marketable and merchandisable many of the cute creatures are. A lot of these new fans weren't even yet aware of the games. It's clear that from very early on, the Pokémon franchise had incredible momentum, and that it was capitalized on extremely well. And they've managed to maintain that momentum all the way through to today. Over the years, Pokémon has become increasingly more experimental in its evolution. The franchise now has many spin-off titles into completely new genres. The biggest spin-off success is Pokémon Go. Pokémon had yet again pioneered a genre that would become replicated by others. This time, however, it was significantly more accessible due to it being free, on mobile phones, and simpler to play. This meant an entirely new audience had been found, which created even more new fans of the franchise. Some other fun experimental spin-offs are Pokken Tournament, Pokémon Mystery Dungeon, Pokémon Snap, and Pokémon Unite, amongst many others. I believe it's this willingness to experiment that kept the Pokémon brand feeling so alive for so many years. The mainline Pokémon games have had their fair share of experimentation and development too. Pokémon Sword and Shield took a step away from the traditional perspective that we're used to seeing, now allowing players to control the camera fully when in the wild area. This is an open area where, for the first time, you could see other players and Pokémon roaming around. Here they added raid battles that you could join with other players. All of these things are a first for the series. In Pokémon Arceus, we saw this wild area concept expanded into an entire game. Each area is treated like a separate map. Here we're given total camera control for the entire game, and the ability to manually aim and throw Pokéballs. Seeing Pokémon roaming around in the world in real time is an evolution of the franchise that I think we'll never go back on now. In Pokémon Scarlet and Violet, we now no longer have wild areas, but one single seamless map. No longer do we see random other players in just the wild zone, but it's made easier to connect and play with our friends anywhere in the game world. With each new entry, the Pokémon series is attempting to push the franchise into new waters, which is something I believe should be celebrated. The growth has been shaky, but that's because each of the recent games have been trying to evolve in multiple ways at the same time. Considering this, I'm pretty excited to see what's next for Pokémon. Thanks for watching, please subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and feel free to make a suggestion about what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video.